Happy Friday. I'm going to add the link for today's recipe in the chat. And let's see. There it goes. Hi, my name is Ashley. I write about food and recipes over at Big Flavors from a Tiny Kitchen. It's online at bigflavorstinyKitchen.com, on social media at Big Flavors, on Twitter's at Big Flavors blog. And today I'm really excited to share a recipe that I made for a cooking competition I was part of last fall up in the Finger Lakes region of New York. Hi, Nicole. So I realized the other day I had posted about the trip that I took. We went to a cheese cave. We did all this really cool stuff. And I never shared my recipe that I entered in the cooking contest. So we're having some friends over tonight for dinner. So I'm going to make the stuff for all of it. And then I'm going to, instead of doing one large pizza, I'm going to do individual sized ones. And I'm going to have mine for lunch today. And I'll assemble the rest of them later. So Nicole, can you hear me okay? Just making sure this new setup is still a little bit different for me, but, and then let me just check here. So I'm going to also put in a link to my Amazon shop page for anybody who is looking for the product recommendations, anything we talk about here. If there's new stuff, I'll add it to my Amazon shop later. So it's a good place to find things. And let's see. So the recipe today is burrata pizza with prosciutto and pickled grapes. And it sounds kind of like a weird combination, but the sweet and salty, it works really well. And it's a really nice, like, kind of tableside presentation because I break the burrata at the end, and it's just really, really nice. So I'm going to preheat my oven to 450. And I'm using got my rack in there. This is, what is it, 450? This is a convection oven. If you have a convection oven, use it. What I tend to do with this recipe is I'll bake it, and if the cheese isn't getting bubbly enough, I'll pop it under the broiler because I like to get a little darker. And then today, since I'm doing kind of more individual sized, I'm going to use naan instead of pizza crust. So I have in the post that I have on my website that's linked in the chat, I talk about like the different types of crust that you can use. I've only used store-bought crust when making this. I'd rather just save the time on that because really it comes together pretty quickly. But you can feel free to make your own pizza dough if you'd like, and like use a pizza stone to bake it. You can buy pizza dough from the grocery store. It's usually in the like refrigerated biscuit cookie dough aisle. And then if you have a pizzeria in the area, a lot of times you can just go up to the counter and ask them like, hey, can I buy some pizza dough? And they'll sell that to you also. That being said, I've only done it with pre-made crusts. This is my first time trying it on naan, and they didn't have any regular, but they had whole grain, and this is a brand I've used before, Stonefire. Their pitas are really good. If you like pita bread, the pockets don't tear when you put your stuff in there, and I really like that. So I'm just putting my whatever crust you use, mine's a naan, on a baking sheet with a rack, an oven-safe rack on it. So this is a quarter sheet pan. That's the size I figured why use a whole sheet pan when I'm, just for me. So we're going to do just the one on here today. So I'm just going to set this aside till we're ready. And the first thing we're going to do is make the pickled grapes. So it's a quick pickle, and pickled grapes sounds kind of weird, but it sits in the vinegar and sugar mixture really quickly, and then I drain it out, add a little more salt, and put it in the fridge until the pizza's ready. So we're going to take a small saucepan, whatever. It's not much liquid, so I'm just using this itty bitty one. And we're going to get white wine vinegar, 3 tablespoons. And mine's almost out, so I might also add some rice vinegar because that's the closest. You could use regular white vinegar. Apple cider vinegar would probably be fine. I would not use balsamic in this. It might be good, but it might overpower the other flavors. So it's just at the store prior to this. Hi, Jennifer. Yeah, I love burrata too. Oh, did I introduce you to burrata? Was that you? I've had a bunch of friends who, including my the person who in the cooking competition that I made this for, we had another person to assist us, and then we assisted them when it was their turn. And she had never had burrata, so I got to introduce her to it, and she was. I mean, it's if you're not familiar with burrata cheese. So this is fresh mozzarella. It's comes in a ball. A lot of times it's in a container of liquid also, but this one is not. This is burrata. There's two in here. This one's actually burratina. I got this one from the farmer's market. It's they're just smaller than a regular ball of burrata, which I have more because I'm making this for later for a dinner party. This is the one I bought at the grocery store just now. So same thing. So basically, burrata is mozzarella cheese. It's a ball of mozzarella cheese. And on the inside, the cheese is kind of like the texture of ricotta. So instead of being solid all the way through, it's creamy and it kind of oozes out and is really good. So I took this out of the fridge so that it'll be nice and kind of, I don't know a good word for, a non kind of weird sounding word for, it kind of pours out, I guess is a good way to say it. A tablespoon of kosher salt is going in with the vinegar. And then sugar. So 1.5 teaspoons of granulated sugar. 1.5 teaspoons is the same as half a tablespoon. So if you have measuring spoons that have a half tablespoon, it's not all of them do, but some of them give that measurement. It's the same thing. And half a cup of water. I'm just gonna put this over. I'll put it over high heat, and simmer it until the salt and the sugar dissolve. Get a spoon, and then we'll pour that over the grapes. So while that's in there, and this was fun too because the guest judge for our this cooking competition was Chef Jason Smith. He's on Food Network. He won one of the seasons of Food Network Star. He you might know him as Lord Honey. That's his brand that he goes by. He's got all the blinged out jackets and stuff, and he was a lot of fun to interact with. And he had a film crew walking around the kitchen interviewing us while we were cooking, and it's exactly like it looks like on TV. I was one of the first people he interviewed, so I had just started going, and I had to stop and talk and try not to fall behind on my timing. And well, it was a little stressful, but it was a lot of fun, and he liked my flavor combination, and it was a cool experience. So I'm gonna slice, how many grapes? About 3/4 of a cup of, I'm using red seedless grapes, and then just slice them as thinly as you can. What I like to do is slice them and put them into a Pyrex, the measuring cup that I used for the water, because I'll fill it up, I'll pour the pickling liquid over it, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then drain off the liquid, toss in a little bit of salt, and put it in the fridge until the pizza's ready. Do you guys have any interesting, unusual pizza flavor combinations that you're into these days? My son is half Italian because my husband's Italian, and my son really likes pineapple on his pizza. Not ham and pineapple, but just pineapple. And a lot of people think that's blasphemous. I say whatever you want, toppings-wise, as long as you enjoy it, who cares? So just takes a little bit of, this recipe is not difficult, it's just a little bit of time doing the components. So this was my entry in the cheese. It was an undeniably dairy cooking competition from the American Dairy Association Northeast, and so my secret ingredient was cheese, and there was other people in the category, and some people got yogurt, some people got milk or cream as their secret ingredients. So there was a couple different categories, and mine, I didn't want to just use one cheese because that's crazy, and immediately I was like, well, I got to use Burrata because I love it so much. So I used 3 different kinds of cheese here, and one of the cheeses in 2 different ways. So the base of the pizza gets slathered in garlic Parmesan butter, so that has grated Parmesan. And then on top of it, sliced mozzarella. And then on top of that gets baked. And then on top at the end, I shave some more Parmesan on top because I like the big kind of like flakes of Parmesan. And then at the very, very end, like right before you serve it, so if you're presenting this like at a dinner party or something, if you want to get like some kind of oohs and ahs, the burrata at the end, break it over, and it just kind of melts all over the top. And it's an interesting kind of texture combination and flavor combination, temperature combination. Like I kind of like things that are cold and hot. I think that like the first time I remember that actually being a thing to me, like something that I really noticed, was when I was maybe 8 or 9. My dad drives a semi truck, so I used to go with him in the summers, and we would go all over the country. And we were out in California, and we went to Benihana. It's like a hibachi place for my birthday. And my stepsister said, "Do you want green tea ice cream?" And I was like, "What's green tea ice cream?" It's ice cream made with green tea. So, but you know, I grew up in the Midwest. We didn't have like fancy things like green tea ice cream. So I remember eating the green tea ice cream and taking a sip of the green tea that I had, like the hot tea. And the way that it was, sorry, I just heard that. This is completely melted in there, dissolved. The way that the cold ice cream felt after the hot drink, it just, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. It kind of made an impression on me. So, other things going on lately. I know I've mentioned before, but in a couple weeks I'm starting to teach another cooking class at the Ossining Public Library for teenagers. So if you have teenagers in the area, it's part of the Beams program. It meets 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'll be on Wednesdays there doing cooking classes. I'm still finalizing my menu choices, but last time I did it, we did challah French toast. I had them do a grilled cheese competition once for a National Grilled Cheese Day. That was pretty fun. I did with them Monte Cristo sandwiches. We did snickerdoodle cookies. So I kind of tried to get like a nice variety. We might do pancakes this time. There's like limited oven space, so baking is a little tricky for that. But it's a lot of fun. And at the end, I give everybody, I email out a PDF cookbook so they can have the recipes at home and can make them with their families. And it's a lot of fun. Hope this is like really thrilling video watching these sliced grapes, but it has to be done. I had to close my window because the landscapers are outside my complex doing a lot of lawn mowing. Do these have seeds? Ah, dun dun dun. All right. I think this one looks like it's got some pretty big seeds, so I'm going to avoid that one. All right. So I can always add some more of these later. I just want to get the idea for you guys so you can see how easy it is. Yeah, there's seeds in here. All right. Can see, like, I just guess I always assume most grapes are seeds. See that in the middle? There's like little seeds in there. So that kind of stinks, because let's see. I guess they're not big enough that it's noticeable. You know those big, those like really big black grapes? Those have seeds inside that are like very, very noticeable. So you just want to slice them thin-ish as much as you can. And this adds, I like using purple or red grapes here because the color looks really nice on top at the end. All right. Goodness. I'm going to stop after this one. Okay. So I got my grapes in there. Then I'm going to pour this mixture right over the grapes. So we got all these thinly sliced grapes in here. I'm gonna pour it right over the top. My oven's ready. And then let this sit for 10 minutes. Okay, so while that's sitting, we're gonna make the garlic. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna chop up some tarragon. So about a tablespoon of finely chopped tarragon. Tarragon's an herb that I got into kind of late in life because I didn't really care for the flavor of licorice for a long time. And I still am not super into it, but tarragon grows, it's kind of like crazy looking. And it smells like licorice. It's not super, super potent when it's done right. You gotta, it's a little tricky to find the balance. So if you're unsure if you want a lot of it, maybe start with half a tablespoon. You could always add more. So you just kind of pull back to get the leaves off of the stem, and the ones at the end you can just pinch off. I like the way that this works with the sweetness of the grapes. The flavor combo is really nice. And actually, so if you look on the recipe post that I linked in the description, when Chef Jason Smith was walking around the room and talking to us, when he saw that I was using tarragon, we got into this whole discussion about tarragon and how I consider it's like always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Like people kind of, I don't know, I think they're scared of it. I think licorice is scary to a lot of people, but I feel like overall flavor preferences are changing. I know at least for me, you know, I'm kind of starting to like foods I didn't used to like, and there's that whole thing about your body changing every 7 years, and so maybe, I mean, people are more into bitter things now. Certain things that have been big in Europe for a long time, like now kind of here in the US, we're embracing them. So who knows, maybe tarragon will start popping up a lot more. But it's really nice in this recipe. If you just absolutely do not want to use it, maybe some Thai basil or basil you could use, but the basil will kind of brown when you, after you cut or tear basil, it kind of browns quickly. So it'll still taste good, but it won't necessarily look as pretty. You could use chives. So I'm just kind of chopping this up finely, and after the 10 minutes is up, I'm going to drain the grapes and add a little bit of salt and this tarragon to the mix. All right, I'm going to set that off to the side. You can save a little too for the top if you want, but there's plenty going on the top of the pizza. You shouldn't need to. Hi there. All right, so garlic Parmesan butter. I call for a 1/4 cup. So this is for one large pizza. I'm going to make 4 kind of mini ones. So I'm just going to use, I'm going to make the same amount, but I'm only going to use 1/4 of it right now because I'm going to save and make the other ones when my friends come over tonight. So 1/4 cup of butter is half of a stick. I'm using unsalted butter because that's normally what I keep on hand, and I like having control over how much salt is in things. I let this sit out. I took it out this morning when I woke up, so it's nice and soft. If it's not soft, you can, I let it just sit on the counter. You can microwave it. If you're going to microwave it, you want to go like 10 to 15 second increments at half power, just so you don't melt it, because it's a little harder to work with if you melt it. So to the butter, I'm going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. I love fresh garlic, but for things like garlic bread, I think I made garlic bread last week with you guys, but garlic bread and garlic butter, I like using garlic powder. I just feel like it works better. So I've got that. I'm going to do 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Doesn't make it spicy, but it's just gives it like a little bit of a punch. 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. And then a tablespoon of freshly grated Parmesan. I bought a new one out. You guys saw last week I was almost out. So it usually comes like this. A lot of times they sell the ones that are on the wheel. There'll be rind on 2 sections. So I'm always like, but then you're paying for a lot of rind that if you use it for something great, but it can be hard to use. I'm going to open my window back up unless the lawnmowers come back. So it usually comes in plastic like this, and then I'll just store it in a bag in the fridge. My son actually loves Parmesan cheese, just like chunks of it in his lunch. Like I'll just take a knife. Like if you take a knife, let me wipe this off though. If you just like go into here and turn, you can see it like breaks off chunks. So they're good to eat. They're really nice on cheese boards. But for this part, I'm just going to use a microplane. This one's a little bit coarser than the normal one that I use. And I just like the texture. It makes it kind of nice and fluffy. So about a tablespoon of Parmesan. Speaking of cheese boards, I'm working on a project. If you guys have any questions, things you want to know about how to put together cheese boards and snack boards, let me know in the comments, or you can DM me to be discussed later. But so then you just kind of smush this all together. I can't do it up here, but just keep smushing until everything's incorporated. This is why it makes it a lot easier if you've already softened the butter. So that's all for that. And then mozzarella. This is fresh mozzarella. At a local Italian market, when I was testing this recipe for the competition. Hey, Rob. So when I was testing the recipe for the competition, I found a place that makes their own mozzarella. Like they stretch it right there, and they did it. He asked me if I wanted salted or unsalted, and I was like, I didn't even realize there was a difference. So when I did it, I used unsalted the first time, I used salted. But just so you know, there's unsalted mozzarella out there. So I'm going to slice this into about 1/4 inch thick slices. And then when I put it over the pizza crust, I'm also going to kind of tear it just to kind of give it a nicer look. And actually, this was probably a better job for a serrated knife. It doesn't matter if this looks pretty because you're going to, like I said, we're going to be tearing it up anyway. All right, so I got my garlic Parmesan butter. Mozzarella's there. I've got naan today because I'm doing a mini one. So you'll take your pizza crust, naan, whatever you're using. Just wipe this down. I've told people before, it's always a little weird because I can't clean up as I go as well as I normally do when I'm on Facebook Live because you guys don't want to watch me clean. It's not. My husband would love to watch me clean probably because he likes a clean home, but it's not riveting. So I've got this on this 1/4 sheet pan lined with a baking rack. If you're doing a full-size pizza, use a 1/2 sheet pan. It's twice the size with a rack on it. You don't have to do the rack. I like to use it because if the butter runs off and gets down onto the crust. It keeps it from getting too soggy. And then just gonna do a layer with like half an inch or so around the edge. It's a little interesting with the pockets on this because versus using a pizza crust, but we'll see how it turns off. And if it's how it turns off, I can't imagine it would not be good, but we will find out. All right, so we got a layer there. And then right on top of this, I'm gonna tear some mozzarella. So for a whole larger pizza, I would use 8 ounces. I think this was 16. No, this was 8 ounces. So I'm going to use about a quarter of it as a good guideline. Pizza stone? Yeah, so if you're using pizza dough, yes, you could use a pizza stone. And what I would probably do is, preheat the stone or steel. I have a pizza steel. Preheat it in the oven. Bake your dough until it's almost done. Take it out, then put the garlic butter and the toppings, and then put it back in. So I've got the grapes. It's been 10 minutes, so I'm going to drain this out, and then I'm going to stir in a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt and the chopped tarragon. Actually, that liquid would probably be good in like a vinaigrette or something next time. All right, so a little salt. And then this tarragon. And where did I put the spoon? So just all that together in here and just kind of stir it. And then I usually pop this just like this with the spoon into the fridge until I'm done making everything else. Okay. So I'm tearing some mozzarella and placing it, just leave some space in between, and placing it on top of the pizza or naan or whatever you're using. I think these flavors would be good in like an appetizer bite also, maybe not necessarily as pizza. I haven't played around with that, but like if you did like a bocconcini, little piece of mozzarella and some of the pickled grapes on a cracker, maybe, I don't know. I should play around with that because it would be the flavor combination is so interesting. It would be nice to do it in another way. So, all right. So right now we've got the garlic Parmesan butter and the mozzarella on the crust. I'm gonna add some sliced shallots. For the whole recipe, you need about half a shallot sliced, and I used half last night. Actually, okay, so I used this other half of this in part of, I'm doing a freezer challenge. I don't know if you guys are on my mailing list. I'll put a link in the chat. But basically, my freezer's out of control. There's so much stuff in there, and then I feel like I tend to forget that there's stuff in there, and then it's too full. I don't have room for things, and then I feel like it just overwhelms me, and I never use it. So I'm kind of forcing myself to get in there, use things up. So the first thing, I had found like half a bag of frozen shrimp, and I made something with that. I've been saving it on Instagram, but I've been sharing kind of like behind the scenes stuff about that in my newsletter. I send it like twice a month. So yesterday I had thawed, I had a pack of ground pork. So it was a pound. I thawed that, and I found this recipe. I had it bookmarked for the longest time, and for these Vietnamese pork meatballs with like a rice noodle salad, and I had fresh herbs. So I both used the ground pork that was in the freezer and these rice noodles that I had that were getting very close to being past okay to use. So just gonna sprinkle these shallots, separate them with your fingers because they tend to stick together. So just kind of sprinkle that around. So yeah, that had I left from that, so I was like, perfect. I'll use that on my pizza. So I've got that, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper over the top of all of this. Tiny kitchen for sure. All right. So I have this at 450. I'm gonna bake it for about 7 to 10 minutes. You want the cheese to be melted and bubbly. And if it's not getting brown, what I often do is I'll transfer it to the broiler just because I really like it to get nice and brown on top. So I'm going to start with 7 minutes and we'll see. So if you guys are up for a challenge, if your freezer's a hot mess like mine is, I challenge you to a duel. No, to use it. Like it helps cut down on kitchen waste. It'll save you money because you got stuff in there that you've already paid for. So I'm using doing hashtag Big Flavors Freezer Challenge. If you do it online, let me know. Tag me. I'd love to see like what you guys make with it. So now that this is in the oven, like we're really pretty much done. Once that's gets nice and brown, we'll top everything. So if you're doing this for a cocktail party, you can make cocktails. You can go hang out with your friends. Okay. This is from the same company that last week I got something and the ricotta, and I had the hardest time opening it. So this burrata cheese comes in liquid, so if you're only using some of it, save the liquid, but you can see, ooh, it's really soft. All right, so I don't want to break it, but it looks like a ball of mozzarella. And then inside is that nice liquidy goodness. Let's see, what else have I done with the freezer challenge? I keep, like, I had a chicken, like a rotisserie chicken. I had the bones from it. And in the freezer, I had some bones from, I had spatchcocked a chicken. So I had the backbone and a couple like random little like bones and stuff. So I made bone broth in the Instant Pot, and that went really well. I'm actually going to use some of it in tonight's, like the recipes I'm doing for tonight's dinner party. Let's see. Oh, okay. So this is something that I put off doing forever, but I finally started. Have you guys heard of Ibotta? Ibotta. If you have not, oh my God. I'm kind of kicking myself for not trying it out earlier. Basically, it's an app, and you can look up like grocery stores in your area. Not just grocery stores. It does it for like Amazon, for some things on Amazon and everything. But basically you open the app and then it'll load. You can either do find offers or you can browse by store. So like I was at Stop and Shop, so I hit Stop and Shop and it'll show you like things that are on sale. So this is like, it's kind of like couponing, but it's basically anything that's already on sale in the store. Like that doesn't matter as long as you're getting whatever the requirement for the item is. In here, you upload your receipt, and sometimes you have to like scan a barcode, and then you get money back. So like I went to the grocery store yesterday, and I ended up getting like almost $40 on top of all the stuff that I saved at the store. So it was crazy. So you can I'm in Stop and Shop. You can hit find offers, grocery. There's other categories too. So there's like online shopping, beer, wine, and spirits, pharmacy, clothing, beauty and wellness, travel. So I'm usually doing the grocery one. So you can pick your store, you can save favorites. So if I went into Stop and Shop, you can sort by like the things that are most popular or best value. I saw somebody online who was getting stuff at Home Depot that between the price it was in the store and the what she got back from here, she was making money on it, which is crazy. But so you can sort by like dairy and eggs, pantry items. There's all these categories up top, and it'll show you. So like I have this pasta sauce in my list, so I know that I get 50 cents back And then it'll tell you the details. It says you can redeem up to 5 times per receipt, valid on this brand of pasta sauce, any variety, any size. So sometimes it's like a specific size. So there were a few things that I couldn't find that I wanted to find. But so if it's on sale for whatever at the store or even full price, then you get money back on here. And they do it either, they'll send it to you through PayPal or Venmo, or I think you can get like Amazon gift cards. Anyway, I've been hearing about it for a long time and I didn't try it. And now I'm like, I could have been saving some money. So I'm not affiliated with them. I have a referral link. I don't know, if you refer a certain number of people, you get some sort of cash back, but it's really, I was super excited to save money, and I would, if that's helpful for any of you, that's awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my broiler because I have a feeling that this is gonna be not brown enough to my liking. We've discussed this before, but if you have an electric oven, when you're heating your broiler and using it, leave the door cracked a little bit. If you have a gas oven, you can close it. Is there any other questions in here? Gonna broil it on top. This recipe is really a lot easier than it seems. Oh, the only other ingredient that I didn't have out yet, because I like keeping it nice and cold, is the prosciutto. So it usually comes in a package that's got kind of like wax paper in between. If you get it from the deli, ask them to slice it thin. I made the mistake once of not specifying at the deli counter, and more thickly cut prosciutto is still delicious, but it's not the same. So you can see there's like these little pieces of wax paper in between each. It's because they're so delicate. And then you just peel it right off. And for this pizza, I tear it into smaller pieces and kind of lay it on top kind of like ribbons. So really at the end, once it's browned, we're gonna shave some Parmesan to put on top of it, add our pickled grapes, prosciutto, and then break the burrata. So for this ribbons, I'm just using a vegetable peeler, and then just kind of find a decently flat end and just kind of gives you these nice bigger pieces. Then if you grate it or cut it into chunks. So I like the look of it and also the texture that it adds. All right, my pizza is maybe done. The naan I got, the only one they had at the store was also whole wheat crust, so hopefully it's all right. We'll see. Oh, so this looks pretty good, but I want the cheese to get a little more brown. So I'm just gonna broil it like very briefly. But I don't know if you can hear, but some of the butter from the crust is running off into the pan. So I'm gonna set a timer just so I don't accidentally forget it. Start. Come on. No. Oh, well, fine. Okay. What is this? You'll probably find this strange, but I'm imagining subbing smoked salmon here for the prosciutto. Salmon, burrata. I think let's see. You would have to eat it right away because I would worry that it would get a little funky. But yeah, I mean, and I would maybe, I don't know, would that work with the grapes? Interesting. If you try it, let me know how it works out, because I think that sounds delicious. You could also leave the prosciutto off if you wanted to keep this vegetarian. It's certainly not vegan. Although you could use vegan butter. You could use, they have fake cheeses, non-dairy cheeses. There's actually a recipe for it's called mozzarella, so not real mozzarella, that tastes shockingly like actual mozzarella. And And then, yeah, what would be good non-meat instead of prosciutto or maybe smoked salmon? Maybe nothing. It's nice to have that little extra saltiness, so maybe a little nutritional yeast. But yeah, interesting thought. Just see. Yeah, that's looking much better. Let me clear off the space a little bit. Gonna move this, and like I said, I'm having my appetizer for tonight's dinner party for lunch today, and everybody else can have it at dinner time. I'm making lamb shanks and mashed potatoes, broccoli rabe, and Dutch apple pie. So we haven't had friends over. We've had our supper club over, but not like just friends for a dinner party for quite a while. So I'm excited to do that, and we have like some cocktail ideas and stuff. All right, so now this looks good. Let me get my little pizza peel guy. Well, let's take this out so that it doesn't burn while I'm looking for my pizza peel. Yeah, look. Oop. Nice and bubbly and brown. Okay, just gonna crouch down and look for my pizza peel. Here it is. So if you're using like a pizza stone or something, this is what you want to use to get under there. There are metal ones that are a little bit thinner. I like this one. It's Epicurean. I have like some cutting boards by them. Actually, that knife rack is also that brand. But so I'm just gonna pop that under. All right, so we have our pizza. I'm gonna add some prosciutto. So for a whole, I mean, use however much you want. I call for 4 slices for a whole pizza. So like maybe 1 slice of prosciutto per if you're doing a smaller one, but I think I'm gonna do a little bit more because it's delicious. And you can see it's just like so super thin. I'm just tearing it into smaller kind of little ribbons. This is one of the things that there's a decent amount of packaging, which kind of stinks, but what are you gonna do? So, all right. Got the prosciutto on there. And then my shaved Parmesan. So these big kind of ribbons of Parmesan on top of that. And the pickled grapes that are in the fridge. They're just so pretty on top of this. And I just kind of like scatter them around so that you get a little bit in each bite, but that you don't go like crazy overwhelming it. I didn't have time to set up the second camera today, so hopefully this angle's all right. Okay. So now, once you get to this portion, you are ready to go tableside presentation. So here's what it looks like now, and then we're gonna break the burrata over the top. So. All right, let's see if we can get a good angle on this. Ooh, this is a little more than I would use on this piece, but set this off to the side. This one is like really creamy on the inside. Some of them are a little more like the texture of ricotta, but like this kind of, oh, this is like the outer bit. Here we go. I mean, you can eat that, but it's just a bit much. So that's what that looks like. And then let me show you. This is a pizza cutter that I like instead of those. Like if you have bigger pizzas, I like this style. It's like a big blade, but it's good because you don't have that little rolly thing. And then you just can hear the crust is nice and crispy, even without using a pizza stone. And you just kind of rock it back and forth. Didn't cut this into very even slices, but I'm used to doing it as a full pizza. But let's see. That's it. So I hope you guys enjoy this if you give it a try. Let's see. Oh my God. It's one of my favorites. It was a very big hit at the competition that I made it for. Everybody who was there really, really enjoyed it. It's an interesting one. It's a nice starter, like I'm going to do it for tonight. It's also great as a meal on its own. So let's see if I can show this again without dropping any. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoy this. If you make it, please tag me on social media at Big Flavors. You could use hashtag #CookBigFlavors. And if you want to join on the freezer challenge, I would love to have other people get the mess out of their fridge and freezer. So I will see you guys next Friday, September 20th, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.